Well, hello, fellow faculty members. We are doing another video here just to underscore the importance of something that we're requiring that all instructors do in the Schoology learning platform. Uh, Now, as we review this, there'll be a number of things that you already know, but this is just emphasizing one thing, and this is the ongoing class calendar that you always see over here on the right-hand side of the page. This is what keeps the students informed. This is how we're going to know that they're doing what, or they're aware of what they should be doing here in the class that you have with them. And so this becomes a very, very important aspect of what we do here in the Schoology Learning Management System. Now, what we recommend is that go ahead and push out an entire calendar of events at the beginning of each semester. If you didn't do that this time, then please look at doing that in the future. This way, the students can have a bird's eye view, a big overview of what's going to be going on each and every day throughout the semester. And then, and this is what's very important, you can also put due dates on the calendar for each assignment, for each test, for each quiz, for each project, for each discussion thread, anything that you're pushing out here in the way of material, and that way it also shows up on the calendar. And so you'll notice that what I have here on the calendar are a number of events. Each day you have something, each class time rather, you have something that's going on in that class. So for instance, our main topic here coming up is going to be chapter 3 in our textbook, part 1, and then we do a part 2. And so this particular course is very textbook oriented in terms of the material. I've also got a date here for makeup test. Now notice all of these are events. That's why they have the little calendar symbol on them. And so as we click on the main calendar icon, you're seeing monthly view here of the course. And it's very easy here to add events. For instance, if I just click on any given date, let me click on one over here that's in the future, you'll notice that there's the little plus sign here. We click on it and it allows me to either post an event or an assignment. You can actually do assignments from within the calendar. You can, of course, also do those within Schoology where you normally probably are used to pushing out assignments, but you may or may not know that, at least in terms of assignments, this doesn't work for necessarily anything else like a test or a quiz, but it does work for anything that you would label an assignment, and you can actually do it right within the calendar. But by default, it goes to an event. And so this is very good for just letting the student know, okay, on this date, this is what we're going to be doing in class. And so you can put a title in right here that we're going to be doing a particular chapter in the book, or we're going to be having a lecture and classroom discussion or online discussion, whatever it might be. And you can put a description on it. As you scroll down, you can see that you can also have the student RSVP. I personally don't do that. We're assuming that the student is signed up for the course. They're going to be participating. And this is going into my humanities calendar that comes up by default that's part of the course. And so if I click create, then that's going to create that event here with a lecture and discussion. Obviously, I would probably want to be much more specific on that. If you decide later on that you don't want it, you can delete it by clicking on it, and you can edit the item. And by editing it, it also gives you the option to go in there and change some things, edit the event, do the various things that you want to do to change it. If you want to view the item, then you can go into it, and of course by using the little gearbox icon, you can actually edit it from there too, or you can delete it. So this is how you're going to need to go. You're going to need to view it in order to delete it. So I'm going to leave it for the time being because I want to go back into the calendar now and show you how easy it is, because your calendar will in some ways, of course, as you know, always be somewhat fluid. There's things that you'll need to change during the course of the class. You may need to go back and reteach some things. You may need to reschedule a test. You may need to do any number of things. So let me show you a feature that you may or may not be aware of. Let's say that I needed to postpone this particular assignment until the next class. I can just take it and drag it to a new date. Easy as that. I don't have to delete it and then redo it again. I can click and drag that particular one any place that I want to. So keep that in mind as you're putting in events at the beginning of the semester, probably before the first class day. So again, the student has that bird's eye view of what's going to be going on each day. And then as you push out assignments, make sure that if you don't create them in the calendar, do create a due date. So for instance, here I have a test, my first test that I did in this particular class. Notice that if I edit it, I go through and there's a due date. That due date right here will automatically put it on the calendar. And one of the reasons why, again, we're encouraging you to do this is because the student needs to know what's expected of them. This is a great way to not only communicate with them, but also hold them accountable. We don't want the student obviously coming into a class on a given day and say, oh, are we having a test today? I didn't know anything about it. Or you send out a message for an online test and you just remind them that, hey, don't forget we have a test tomorrow or something. Okay. Student messages back, well, I had no idea. I haven't prepared. I didn't know we were having a test tomorrow. Well, if it's on the calendar, they're responsible. As you know, we're requiring them to spend at least a couple of hours, if not more, per week on the class site, on any class that they're taking. And so they should be aware when they go to the site that the first thing you're doing is always looking at the calendar. If the calendar's there right in front of them, then they're responsible for it, and we shouldn't have any sort of miscommunication about, I didn't know we were doing this, or I didn't know we were doing that. And now, the calendar view, remember, will only take you so far in the semester. Remind the student of that. The student might be saying, well, my calendar stops at October 27th. Well, remind them they need to click on the icon, and then they can toggle through the various months. Of course, we're going to be ending in December, and they can see everything right up until the end of the semester. So that will wrap it up for this. Please have the students be responsible for checking the calendar, but the first step, of course, is that the instructor must be responsible for making sure that you're pushing out everything in the Schoology calendar for that class, the class calendar in Schoology. And please make sure, if you would, that before the very first class day, go ahead and have all the events pushed out. You already have an overview of that, probably on a hard document that you use. It's just a matter of entering it into the calendar. And then, of course, you're also going to be pushing out your assignments, tests, discussions, quizzes, projects, anything else, papers, anything else that you might have there. So that will do it for this time. Thank you very much, and we'll see you when we have our next instructional video.